Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Jonathan Mallard and Ryan Faloona here with you again. Hey, what do you know? We're still here, and very glad to be so because we have some great stuff to show you today on Benzinga Pro. There were just some different tickers that popped out at us when we're on the mover scanner this morning and on the news feed. And then we're also going to touch a little bit on how you can use the screener tool to set up some trades for the next day. So Ryan, thanks for being here. Where should we start?
My pleasure. We're going to start with the movers tool. I really like how you set that up because basically what we have here is we have how you can actually prepare before the market opens and then how you can prepare in the evening for the next day. And that's kind of what we're going to show you today. So what I've got here is a blank workspace. And what I would normally click for our first activity here is this What's Moving Scanner preset. This will launch the movers tool and the details tool. I keep a workspace reserved for that because I use those two tools in conjunction with one another very, very often. So I'm just going to flip over to my movers tab here. And the first thing that we're going to see here is this is what my favorite scan, my most common scan, Gainers pre-market in session. This is showing us the stocks that are gapping up in this morning's pre-market session ahead of the open. You have some other filters that you can use here, like market cap or price or sector. But for our example, I don't really want to use any of those, right? I want to get an idea of what's moving across all of those. I don't need to put any filters on that at this point. And then what I would do is I would actually go through here and look for different opportunities. And the first one that we saw today was ENVB. This is a biotech stock, and I noticed that there was a PR here that signs a definitive agreement to acquire exclusive license for novel molecules from diverse biotech. Now, I'm not a biotech expert, so I don't know exactly what that PR means or what that product is, but I've seen enough of these PRs where I know that this can actually run a biotech stock, especially one in this price range. And we obviously had some interest because this stock had gapped 71% this morning before the market even opened. So I knew that there were eyeballs on here. You can take another look at something here, right? In our movers tool, we have an average volume of 2.1 million shares in the day. So far in the pre-market, it's traded 21.6 million. So that tells me that something's going on here. Now, I don't necessarily need to know exactly what that is in order to take advantage of it. I just know that this is the stock that I'm going to be watching. Sedix has something similar to this in terms of its average volume and its gap. I've actually played this before, and this is more of like a day trader stock for me. If you click over to the news tab, you can see there's really nothing crazy. In fact, we had a note here that said not seeing any company specific move to justify the move higher, but it's been a low float momentum play. So if you're wondering why I chose ENVB over Sedix, that's why. The reality is that the next step here is we're going to do a little bit of technical analysis to kind of draw a roadmap for us. Reality is you could do that on both names if you wanted, but this name is a little bit better for our example. So the first thing that we're going to do is let's pretend we don't have the data from the open, right? Let's pretend we're looking at this pre-market data right here. In fact, I can zoom in on that to make it a little bit bigger and easier for you to see. The first thing that we want to do is we want to give ourselves some potential entry points, right? Because we're hoping that although the stock has gapped, we're hoping that it goes right off the open. We're hoping that there's more to come. If you're a short bias trader, you probably have an entirely different plan, which is totally okay. For this though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do some very simple yet very effective technical analysis. I want to mark off some of the bottoms and the tops from the pre-market session today. So I'm going to use the horizontal line tool because this is effectively doubling as a price level. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to mark off some of these points that look really important to me. All right. So here's 5 lines. Took me about 15 seconds to draw. Those are the important levels to my eye, at least so far. So now let's actually come back here and take a look at what we have at the open, because what you're going to do is you're going to react to what the price is actually doing when the stock opens. So you can see here right before the open, we actually come back into that 484 level and we bounce off of it. Then as soon as the market opens, we push up and we hit right about at that 564 level. Remember, we were able to ascertain all of these different levels simply by looking at pre-market data from today. If you wanted to click out to a daily chart and draw some support and resistance levels that way, you can. In fact, I think that's a really good idea. But for the sake of the example, I was just showing you how easy this is just to get this off of today's data. Then what we have is we actually have a pullback here. So this is the whole price discovery phenomenon, right? It's pushing up right out of the open. It's pulling back to that 539 and even 528 level. You can see the body's really held above 539. But this is an important lesson here. For a gap and go, a lot of the times when a stock gaps, you'll see it come in a little bit out of the open. There might be some people that were trading it in the pre-market or even the day before that are now in profit and want to take some of those gains. So this movement here, this price movement, is not unexpected at all. And what I would do in order to try and take advantage of that is I would try to open a position when it comes back in a little bit, right? So we wash out a little bit here, take a position around 539. If you don't hit it exactly, that's okay. In fact, in this, these wicks actually sold off all the way down to the low 520s. So even if you had a lower bid there, a stink bid, if you will, you probably still would have been filled, depending on how large the order is. Then we actually push off that, right? So we're showing that we're bouncing. The buyers step in. It's confirmed by this gigantic volume candle here at the bottom. And then, of course, makes the price move, right? We go from 546 all the way up to 610. And then we keep trying to grind higher. We come back in and test these very same levels that we just took a position at a few times and then run again. Now that we've kind of busted through this, now we're kind of at the next level, right? We want to see if we can hold for this next leg higher. What's so great about this is that you can spend very little time preparing for this and have an excellent roadmap for how you're actually going to play this when the market opens. And this is one of the reasons why I chose this one is because I recognize PRs like this about biotech companies are often going to cause a stock to move. We have another post here where we've got a little bit more color about that. So to me, this is the catalyst. This helps me determine which stock it is that I'm going to play. Now, if we take a look at the other side of this coin, notice that ticker SLGG is actually in this list. And this is a stock that I've been bullish on for a long time. I'm still holding this stock. We gapped today, right? We closed yesterday at 507. Yesterday's after hours took us all the way up to 650. We're going back and forth. We were still up this morning. But the reason that I wouldn't try to play this for a gap and go is twofold. Number one, we don't really have that same type of powerful catalyst that we just talked about on ENVB, right? We don't really have any catalyst. In fact, we're telling you that we have earnings tomorrow. We have earnings tomorrow after the close and a conference call. So to me, this is less of a candidate because unless you really thought that this stock was going to go up into the earnings call, I didn't have an edge either way. So this is not one that I would choose to play. I would much rather try to day trade something that has a catalyst. And also, we took a look at that volume number. Here you can see this on average trades 7.8 million shares. We only traded 360K this morning. So there's nothing really outstanding there. I'd actually wait for the market to open to see what this stock does. And as you can see, this did not continue to go. This is actually pulling back in here, and I would expect to see that ahead of earnings.
Thanks for all that commentary, Ryan. One thing I wanted to point out back with ENVB was the volume in the pre-market. Ryan, I know that you don't really trade much in the pre-market with your trading plan, but if you compare those volume candles, if you didn't have the huge volume after the open, that's very significant volume. And you can see with those big pushes up how it was on increasing volume. So for a lot of our friends out there who do some pre-market scalping, this was a fantastic opportunity for you. And it would have shown up on the movers tool, as well as if you go over to the news tab underneath the price quote, I just want to take one more look at that press release. Click on the press release and scroll down, because this has one of my favorite category tags on it. If you go all the way down to the bottom, if I remember this correctly, it's tagged right there with contracts. So any of you that have seen my filtered newsfeed videos, you'll know that you can search for this type of catalyst in your newsfeed, go upstream of that volatility, and then you have not one, but two ways that you would have caught this play, either on your streaming newsfeed or on the movers tool. So it's just great to see the different ways that you can find those catalysts inside of Benzinga Pro.
That's an excellent point, Jonathan. And just a little bit more to your point about, I don't actually place trades in the pre-market or the after-hour session very often. But even so, I still pay attention to what stocks are doing, right? I still take a look at this. I still notice the gigantic volume, just like you did, to alert me that, hey, that's significant and something is worth looking into here. So even if you don't trade in those extended hour sessions, that's okay. There's still information that you can take away from that. One more thing that I wanted to cover here, Jonathan, real quick before we head off is we talked about this is how you can actually prepare during the pre-market, but there's a tool here that I use every day to prepare the night before. It helps me whittle down a list of stocks that I'm going to look at or focus at or see what the story is going to be within the morning. So if I go to a blank workspace here, I'm going to click on our screener tool. And this is just a fairly basic screener. If I click on all, I'm going to get all of the different variables that we can look up. Now, what I want to look up here is I want to look up volume because I want to make sure that the stock is liquid, right? So I want to make sure that this is at least over 1 million shares. The other thing that I want to look up here is relative value, right? I want to know the things that are having significant buying here, right? So I want to look at something over 1.5. And the result here is going to give me a list of different stocks that meet those two criteria. If I wanted to filter it down any more by price, market cap, float, or any of these other variables, I'm able to do that. But this is actually the crux of the scan that I'm going after. The next step for me might be to go ahead and click on some of these charts and see if there's anything that stands out for me on the daily chart. So for example, the first ticker that I clicked here, one of the things that I noticed is that we're at we're close to a recent high. So if I see that this breaks this high, this 3150 on volume, that's probably going to keep going. It's this type of preparation, or I can come up with a list of names that are going to be appealing to me or look appealing to me based on some of these technicals for the next day. And this is great because you can do this in the evening when there's nothing going on and you can actually do some of this prep work ahead of time and be ready to go once the market opens.
Yeah, absolutely. I love using that relative volume variable. I mean, it's so easy just as a starting point, right? So you're not going to be scalping off of this data necessarily, but just building your watch list, and then you can have everything prepped and ready to go for the rest of your trading day.
Absolutely, that's it. And like you noticed on the last example when we had movers up, one of the things that you noticed immediately was the volume. So it makes sense that we're scanning for things very similar to that in the actual after-hour session in preparation for the next day.
Awesome. And just might as well say it here since we have another couple minutes. For anybody who's not aware of the audio squawk, I just want to point that out because as we're talking about these catalysts that cause this volatility and the different ways that you can stay up to date with the fastest news, the audio squawk is on the left side of the screen toward the bottom of that navigation bar. And all you have to do inside of Benzinga Pro is click that blue play button, and then you'll get the fastest possible news through your computer speakers as it's happening. So even if you're not looking at the screen that would have that news feed, Charlie, who's been doing this for a long time, he knows exactly what to look for. And it could be anything. It could be economic numbers that are moving the entire market. It could be biotech news that's affecting some smaller price per share stock, or all the way up to the mega cap stocks. So definitely something to check out there. And he does give notes on volume spikes, unusual options, things like that as well. So an absolutely amazing tool to add to your arsenal.
That was the tool that got me to subscribe when I first subscribed years ago. Squawk. It's so valuable. It's a great pairing with any of the other tools that we offer.
Awesome. Well, Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mallard and Faloona. There's Ryan.
Got it, Spence.
Twitter handle. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. It is time for a news desk update. So let's do that, shall we? Fancy videos, huh? I like it. Randy Elias, what's up, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? I like the intro video.
Hey, every day we get a little better. One more video, one more cool graphic every single day. Randy Elias from the Benzinga News Desk. How are we doing today?
Good. We've been rebounding yesterday, today, about time. since stock's been crashing.
About time.
Yeah.
Give me a break. About time.
Come on, man.
About
We're losing
time.
a lot of money out here.
About time. We were down.
Except if you're in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been rallying since the beginning of March. Can you pull up Bitcoin's chart for me, Spence?
Sure. Wait, I have a dumb question.
What?
How would I do that in Benzinga Pro?
I think BTC.
BTC? I should probably know this. Wait.
BTC.
No, here, I'll just pull up the Grayscale Trust. Here, let's just do the GBTC. Okay. All right. So this is this is a 15-minute. Should I zoom out? Let's go to a daily. This is a daily.
All right. Let's go to the month chart.
A monthly? Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then
I've got to zoom way in.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, sweet. So March 1st, the Bitcoin was at. I'm not looking at GBTC.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
fine.
the actual Bitcoin. It was at 46,000, something around there, and now it's at 56,000. It's up about 21% since the beginning of March.
Yeah.
And most of the market has been trading down. So if you've been in Bitcoin, you're the real winner in this downfall.
Well, what about Bitcoin stocks though?
So Bitcoin stocks haven't been trading with Bitcoin up until yesterday.
Such as who?
Riot, Mara, Canon.
Yeah, they look pretty similar to me, at least on the monthly.
No, not Riot. I mean, since the beginning of March, Riot is.
All right, I just pulled up.
Riot's flat.
I just put up a daily.
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning of March, the stock was at 57. It dropped all the way to 35, and now it's back up to 35 from yesterday and today. So a lot of these Bitcoin related stocks are rebounding with Bitcoin.
What about like MVIS? Yeah, they all look the same. Microvision. What about MSTR? They all look the same. All these charts look the same. Yeah.
So a lot of these stocks are rebounding, in sympathy with the strength of Bitcoin and with the whole market. And that's enough with Bitcoin.
What else is on your radar here today?
Gambling stocks.
Gambling stocks.
Yeah.
Like who?
DraftKings, Penn National Gaming.
DraftKings. Okay, didn't they have like an investor day yesterday?
Yeah, so they had an investor day and they gave out some numbers for their forecast, which were pretty strong numbers.
You want to share them with us?
I don't have it on the top of my head.
Right.
I can pull it up though.
Let's go to the news feed. Let's find it in the news feed. I'm sure we have it, right?
Yeah, I can pull it up. So,
what do I have any categories selected? I don't. We have a headline about their investor day, but we don't have any numbers in there. That's not good.
So DraftKings noted it could achieve about $5 billion to $7.3 billion North American and iGaming gross revenue.
Okay, is that for the year?
I think so.
You're reading from the PR?
No, I'm reading from a headline that was published on Pro.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure for how long that is, but it seems like a lot of people really seem to love it, and especially even from the sell side. Like the analysts, there were several price target changes. Benchmark, Jefferies,
I saw
Credit
that this
Suisse.
morning. Yeah, Rosenblatt, Credit Suisse.
Yeah,
Benchmark,
everyone
Jefferies,
just
Macquarie.
maintained their bullish ratings and raised their price targets. So the numbers must have been great.
No,
Must have been good.
Yeah, they're just chasing the price. They're just chasing the price of the stock.
Stock's up about 7% or 8%, and Penn National Gaming was also trading up. I'm not sure if it was with it or with their news, or it could be both, but they also had news that they're launching a Barstools app in Illinois. So that's just another state listed on.
Yeah, I mean, Penn trades with DraftKings, right?
They kind of moved together.
But
that's just a good news item. That's another state that is gonna have their sports betting app.
Okay.
All right.
So do we know how many states now Penn is going to be in? Because they're in Michigan, they're in Iowa. If anyone in chat knows how many states Penn National is in, hit us up. I'm sure we could find that out easily. But
I don't have the number on the top of my head. But okay, that's enough about gambling.
Enough about gambling. What else is on your radar?
Let's go. Like everyone else, GME, GameStop.
What is GameStop up to now today?
At
Oh,
294. It broke the $300 level.
did it?
Okay,
Really?
Yeah. It hit.
What, right there?
I think it was like one little
Yeah,
spike.
304. Look at that.
Yep. And then it just went right back down after that. So I think it's like a resistance level for now.
What is that? That was at like 10. Looks like that was at 10:20.
Yeah.
That was about a half hour
Yeah,
ago.
stock broke 300, so that's definitely staying on my radar to see where that's gonna go. That it's been rallying.
Let's see. Let's zoom out on this. Let's go to a daily. It doesn't look that. Jesus Louise. So what was the high again? 483. So yeah, so 483 is your bogey, right? 40. That was your high from the 28th of January.
Yeah.
That was like peak craziness.
Yep.
And so we got a ways to go, but we have said goodbye to those levels from the other week, right? When it got to 200 right after hours. That is in the rearview mirror now. 300 is up next.
Yep. 300 is up next.
The question now is, can it close? It's not about hitting 300, which Randy said it just did. It's about where can it close? Can it close above 300?
Right. Yeah.
That's going to be the question.
It was just a spike over 300, then just went right back below.
Man, look at this chart. There are like, there should be like textbooks written about like this chart, because so
story.
Forget everything from March onward. This chart from the start of the year to the end of February, we've all seen this chart 1,000 times, right? We've all seen this 1,000 times. Stock gets hot, goes crazy, comes crashing back to earth. We've all seen that happen. In this case, it didn't. It never fell back to where the bottom, but it fell pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
This secondary rally, that's new, right? I mean, it happens, but this is how you know that no one has any clue with this stock. Anyone who tells you they think they know where GameStop is going is full of crap. Okay, no one has any clue where this is going.
I'm with you. No one has any clue, but do you have like a guess? You know, do you think it'll break the 483? Do you think it'll set a new 52 week high? You know,
Well, like
it's like interesting
by when?
to see.
By when? Like ever?
I mean, I don't. Maybe end of this month.
Do I think? I really don't know.
Because like
I really don't. It could go to 500. It could go to 100.
Yeah, because usually it'd be like far-fetched to say, all right, stock's gonna jump another $200. So what is that? Another like 40%.
All right. Here's my hot take right here. This is gonna be my hot take. I'm gonna stick with it. GameStop is going to get, and I have no idea, just total shot in the dark. It's gonna get to like the 470s.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Okay.
It's going to top out at just below that previous high of 483. That's going to be my hot take. I don't know why. That's just a guess. It's a shot in the dark, but I'm sticking with it. That's my hot take.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love to see this thing. I don't know why. I don't own the stock or anything.
No one here.
Yeah. I stay. But I would just love this thing to get to 1,000. You know, it would just be like to see what would happen. Because, like, remember the stock jumped to 483, all this chaos happened, all these talks happened.
Let me say this. If GameStop hits 500,
okay,
I'll jump in for a little bit. If it hits 500.
Okay.
At that, because if it's 500, might as well go to 1,000. Might as well go to 1,000, right?
That's terrifying, man. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to do it.
If it hits 500, maybe I'll jump in for a couple, 10, 20, 30, 40 shares. I don't know. But if it hits 500, but that's a long ways away from now. Saleh is asking, how do you get a job with Benzinga? Go to jobs.benzinga.com. What do you want to do? What are your skills, Saleh? I don't know what you do. We have lots of jobs. We're always hiring. Jobs in news, jobs in sales. I don't know.
Come join the Benzinga team.
Join the Benzinga news team. And Randy, what's on your radar besides GameStop and DraftKings and Bitcoin?
GE had some interesting news this morning.
Yeah, that's just weird. How is this? Oh man, it's down 8% today. Let's pull up an intraday chart. Wow.
Yeah. Stock was up pre-market.
They do not like this. So what was the news here?
So there's a couple of news. They're selling their Capital Aviation Services business.
Yep.
I'm not sure 100% sure how to pronounce this stock.
Aris, right? Aries.
Oh, okay.
I'm not quite sure myself.
I'll take your word for it. The total consideration was for $30 billion, which I thought, GE receiving $30 billion would cause the stock to go up, but I guess not. They also disclosed that the board recommends a 1-for-8 reverse stock split, which was pretty interesting.
Well, that's not official yet, right? That was just what the board like suggested or advised.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they just recommended it, but
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come
1-for-8. So if you go from where it is right now, which is at $13.
So
right?
that's
what's that? That's 104.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, so their stock would be 104. And then third news item is they gave guidance. They gave fiscal year 21 earnings per share guidance. It was below estimates. So I think that was probably the main catalyst of why it was trading down.
Well, wasn't the guidance like an adjustment from the sale? Like they were saying, hey, because we're basically spinning off this part of our business, that we're not gonna reap the earnings from that business anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like bad. The guidance wasn't bad per se. It was just, hey, now that we're not going to have this business, it's going to affect our bottom line for our top line.
Yep.
Bottom line, actually, EPS.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's interesting that it's down 8% today.
Yeah, I thought
reverse splits, man. It's a weird thing. You don't see it with a stock like GE. You see it with a stock like Helios and Matheson, which had MoviePass, or Dry Ships, right? These stocks that like Hertz, companies that are like on the verge of bankruptcy and need to keep their minimum price up to stay listed on the exchange, do reverse splits. You don't see a reverse split from a GE very often.
Yeah, it caught my eye.
Very weird. Very weird. All right.
Yeah.
What else?
So that's about it. That's what's on my radar for today. Not super ton. Just more of like a macro day. A lot of stocks moving together.
Let's go to the movers tool and look at what are the top gainers and losers of today's session. Anything jump out? Oh, Tupperware is interesting. They had earnings, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah! Wow, they're down 23%. They had earnings. Their sales beat.
Wow, this was a beast of a stock last year. Let's zoom out. Let's go to a daily. Just zoom out. Look at TUP.
Yeah, it got crushed today.
Getting crushed today. Yeah. Ouch. But other than that, though, like if you go back to my movers tool, there's not a lot that's down a lot. You know what I mean? If you go to the top, your top, and again, these are filtered. I filter out low price stocks, so I get rid of the noise there. I filter out microcaps and anything below $5. But that being said, there's really not much as far as double-digit losers. There's really only a couple stocks down today, and you can just tell by like this percent change column is kind of how I gauge real quickly. Okay, are we up or are we down? You can look at the indices, and I do that as well. But when I want to see just real fast, like what's the overall sentiment for the day, I can go here and say, okay, well, the stocks that are up, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13%. Stocks that are down really, we're down 5%, we're down 6%, we're down 4%, right? So more gainers than losers, and the bigger gainers than losers. And that's kind of how I get a feel for sentiment for the day. Okay, Randy Elias is with the Benzinga Newsdesk. Joins us every Wednesday, right, Randy?
Yes, sir.
For the Newsdesk update. Randy, go back to your hole and keep on posting those headlines.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks a lot. NATO Islander AMC to 100. Hey, NATO, they got earnings tonight, don't they? Pretty sure they got earnings tonight. So let's pull up that AMC chart. And then after this, I'm going to hop off. We got Fax Attack starting right now. AMC, this is a daily. Let's mute that microphone. Sorry. AMC, this is a daily chart. Oh, this is so weird too. Because it's kind of like it's in an uptrend. Unquestionably, it's in an uptrend. But what the question is, what are they going to say, right? What are they going to say? Are they, because the earnings really don't matter, but are they going to say we're reopening to 50% capacity in the next month? I don't like. What do they say about reopening? What do they say about raising money? That to me could dictate the stock. It's not so much the numbers. The numbers are irrelevant at this point in a stock like AMC. But what do they say about reopening, both in terms of capacity and in terms of just overall like locations, like we're reopening half our locations in the next quarter or whatever. Because no one has any idea. I know they're reopening in California. I saw that headline from last week, but nobody really has any idea. So I'm sure they're going to give us an update about that. And that to me will drive the stock. I have no idea. I'm waiting on that headline as far as what they say. Okay. It is 11:01. I'm going to hop off. We got SPACs Attack up now. Chris Kachi, Mitch Hodge. If you are into the SPAC space, it is really the only SPAC show worth watching. Today they're looking at SPACs related to Cathie Wood. SPACs that Cathie Wood has bought in the ARK Invest family of funds. Everyone hit that like button. We appreciate that. Where's that like banner? Smash that like button. I don't know where my like banner is. I lost it. All right. Smash the like button, guys. Thank you. And I will see you later. It is time for SPACs Attack with Mitch and Chris.